Chapter 4, Planetary Voices.
Susan mastered the black keys and stage fright. No longer content with the equipment I provided, we drove into town to compare the sounds and feel of the latest keyboards. She purchased the $2,500 Korg 01W with transposition, touch sensitivity, and 400 instrument sounds, including 8 drum kits with a different percussion instrument for each keystroke. Evenings were spent selecting the right instrument voice for her accompaniment to each song. It soon became apparent that the Korg had more to offer than one sound for each raga, so I purchased a second Korg as my main controller keyboard. The Saturday night recording parties were now producing music with a depth of sound previously unimagined. With Susan flirting just enough to bring out the best from our guest audience and musicians, the Saturday night jams took off. My daughter Dara returned and commandeered the best ranch cabin. During one of her Halloween ranch parties, her friends heard me practicing on the new Korg. They came over to ask if I could compose music for their high school play Dracula, using the Korg's deeply dramatic, haunting sounds. This instrument produced 400 instrument voices with stunning accuracy and definition. Some of the voices are multi-layer, with a second voice sounding if I strike the keys with force or hold the key down. Such finger control can also generate harmonic overtones for each note, like strings, brass ensemble, or an angelic chorus. To compose a waltz for Dracula's party scene, I selected number 70, Korg's percolator with time-delayed percussion layered under harpsichord. I record each attempt at composition in case something brilliant occurs. I begin to play a white keys waltz, and 6 minutes later, Heart Waltz was complete. The first time perfect song came as I replaced expectation with delight in those Korg's tones. This miraculous recording is Thymus Waltz on keys to healing, with strings and harmonic tones. I added later to the spontaneous waltz. Dracula's Waltz was changed to Ghoul's Waltz from our Halloween jam. The Saturday night crowd was not interested in exploring the darker modalities for a high school play. So alone, the good father produced music in descending modalities, drawing the audience and cast on a Dracula's dark planet. The Smithson Valley Players debuted my first Korg recording compositions during the play's intense scenes. A year later, I was able to introduce these descending ragas to the Saturday night jammers by throwing a Halloween party, calling the music Ghoul's Night Out. Every year I get at least one cut, which replaces that song's previous best on our Ghoul's Night Out CD and download. These ghoulish gatherings are recorded on video and posted at our website, free for all year long for darker gatherings. The multi-layer Korg voices for Dracula did not resonate in the seasonal, gravitational, elemental, or light frequencies. Only the sounds recorded by NASA of the whirling planets produced a similar response. Using the law of octaves, NASA computers brought the rhythmic tone, hertz rate, of each planet into the audible range heard on certain PBS specials. Looping each planet's voice for 6 minutes, controlling volume with a foot pedal, and each planet's whirling sound is the singing voice heard on Planetary Voices. Each week I would listen to only one planet's whirling voice while watching the NASA's videos of Voyager approach, encounter, and leave with that planet. I knew no other way to exact the musical parameters of each planet's long-range, low-octave pulses. Composing each planet's song in this way revealed the planet's influence clearer than any astrology traditions. Refer to the chart at the end of this chapter. The best way to musically express the resonance from the vast emptiness of space required all attending musicians to play sparsely and sparingly. Over the years, I learned the best way to accomplish this was to play and record each song only once on Saturday night. Once musicians became familiar with the melody, they began expressing themselves instead of the planet. I always had the option of lowering their recorded volume, but if I was too late, the song missed the mark. The following Saturday gave me another chance to avoid input not conducive to understanding the planet's resonant effect reaching Earth. As I watched the NASA video of Voyager's encounter with each planet, the rhythm of approach and retreat, like a train coming and going, was apparent. Each planet approaches the Earth in its orbit, then retreats. To express this cycle in a 6-minute song, I turned the rhythm machine's volume off, slowly quickening the tempo of the planet's oscillating voice. Then halfway through the song, I began slowing the tempo of the melody as the planet's resonance faded. Without the rhythm machine, my recording of each planet's voice, controlled by foot pedal, along with my sparse and sparing chord notes, sent the changing tempo of each planet's approach and retreat from Earth. Our representation of a unified mass was the hardest element to accomplish musically and reason for most of the bad takes. In the end, I took the best and added my faraway guitar, since guitar players were sparse that year. Only 2 songs have guitar on the live track. Neptune, when Bob's faraway guitar collided with the unified mass, and the last song, 24 Hours, with Chris Jameson on guitar and Susan on bass keyboard. Epp, Barbara, Crystal, and Candy were camping in the ranch cabins while looking for a proper place to live in exchange for their positive contribution to the music on Saturday night. They loved Saturday parties and heard on most of the final cuts, along with Mel. Mel came to learn my Black Keys method of playing piano, developing finger coordination and rhythm by following the rhythm arrangements I programmed into rolling for each song. As his musicianship grew, his desire to impress his friends with the ease of my pattern recognition technique produced some generous upgrades for our presentations. Refer to the chart on page 51 for the basics used to compose each planet's raga.
From the NASA database, the Hertz rate rotation of Mercury is in the keynote of D. The Hertz rate of Venus's rotation is in the equivalent note of A. For Earth's rotation, C. Mars, D. Jupiter, F sharp. Saturn, D. Uranus, G sharp. Neptune, A minor. Pluto, C sharp. Moon, G sharp. And the Sun's pulse in G. These live performance video versions of Maximus music, including the holiday shows, I transcribed to 3 CD-ROMs, available from MaximusBand.com.
The music selected for each CD in no way exemplifies the artistic potential of each musician. Remember, I recorded live for the random, unexpected element needed to maximize the listener's response to the music time after time after time after time. The musicians usually played and recorded a song the first time. All jazz, all night. They checked out this modal, sonification, maximum, biological, responsive, scientifically based Black Keys music. My only promise, not to use cuts that are truly embarrassing, and not to use their names if their contracts or goals prohibit it. For instance, no musician wanted to be known as the guitar player for Uranus on Maximus. What if it became a hit? They let me add the guitar to our live jam of Uranus later. Also, in certain circles of musical competency, playing with following a computer-generated band is not top drawer. The last thing I want to inhibit is the musician's chance to explore his acumen during these live sonification sessions. The remote 200-acre ranch located with an amenity produced some incredible insights. The only reason so many good musicians contributed to Maximus' band was the positive reaction modal music, Mozart effect, stimulates in the listener and performer. The ability to play without rehearsing or expectation, and Candelaria's sweet sisters dropping by to cheer us on. Candelaria is a rare improvisational dancer, capable of matching her movements with the unrehearsed dramatics of live jazz. Focused in the elemental nature of her movements, for each song she rises and falls with the music's whims. Her entrancing style not only draws male musicians to play, she also entices our video jock, Mark Rosler, to handle the video mix of Crystal's camera and the background video I prepared for each song. His witty comments between songs pulls our live webcast together. Most good musicians were playing for money on Saturday night. My video sidecast of these jams as the first cyber bar on the internet was the only way for local artists to be seen on the World Wide Web, but it paid us nothing. Still based on the simplest melodic structure, any song could turn into a 40-minute jam, all recorded through my mixers to one track. Then sit back and enjoy the video broadcast in the sidebars each night the following week. If desired, I would make them a copy to take home. Otherwise, the only thing I could offer was a 200-acre stage in the Texas Hill Country, playing live music designed to maximize secretions, with only musicians and lovers allowed. With all future proceeds from our recorded efforts going to pay back my 20-year investment in maintaining the wells, fencing, and cattle on this 200-acre ranch, so that my researching tonetics might continue. No one wanted to shovel gravel back on the driveway after a rainstorm, or mend the barbed wire fences whenever a bull broke through, or play the well fees when the pumps broke down. Only Farmer Howard and I know the cost of sweat and blood paid to survive on this piece of Texas heaven. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Howard Roberts. Heaven is yours, not only for the special view of His creation He sees through your eyes, but for the mercy you show those whose lives are a short trip to the slaughterhouse. Regardless of breed or condition, you hear the awareness we share with nature and give a reason to seek closeness with man, Earth's guide to know God. I hear each new calf's fearful reaction to my appearance delivering the daily overflow rations of water, and the determined insistence of the herd's senior members that I may be shown the same respect and consideration they know I show them. Slowly they begin to see life does hold joy, and man is not separate from the herd's concern for abundance. The ranch is heard from every scrawny breed reject to this Noah's Ark of fat, healthy, loving animals, prepared to thank God for the wonderful life made possible by Howard's deliverance, Mike Anderson's owners, concern, and my daily chores. A strange team. Texas rancher, millionaire, and jazzy culandero, sheltering the lost. My addiction to those resident secretions compelled my nightly practice, perfecting my performance for Saturday night's jam, developing the ability to play keyboard, controlling bass and rhythm instruments with my left hand chord changes, and the percussion breaks with foot pedals to the rhythm arranger, the melody of chord tones with my right hand, then play flute, guitar, digital horn, harmonica, or sing as drums, bass, rhythm instruments, and gas play on. the direction of the music responding to the jazz of the moment through foot switches and chord changes. Planetary Voices needed sparse and sparing, so the drum machine was off, allowing more freedom in the mid-jam. On Saturn's song, Epps' congas and my flute go through Saturn's crowded rings and moons with some of Epps' best recorded work. The first time I recorded Moon with guests, Mel's black keys were set on high cello. I find myself raising his volume in mid-jam. For the first and only time, I was able to record Mel in musical rapture. His eyes were closed and there was nothing in between him and the music. No fingers, no charts, no audience, no plan, no responsibility. His high cello tones gracefully encircling my moon rocker across the sky. Since then, Mel has the look in his eye of one who desires to compose his own music. He will probably form his own band and begin to express his own musical nature. We will keep you posted at NBC. We never could get him to play it that way again, or write it down. But for a moment he shared the rapture all musicians strive for. Realizing this black keys technique enabled an unmusical white boy to merge with rapture. I threw out any doubt that the healing power of music can help anyone, even you. Barbara's lovely introduction at the start of each planet's song turned my condensed scientific description into a personal invitation. She draws you in and sets the mood, a true goddess of space and time. By this time, a group of available Maximus musicians was convinced we could make money with this music in the jazz clubs and bars. Taking the online shows, I developed to illustrate each CD into a public forum. Meant new stage speakers, $3,000, amp, $600, mics, $500, stands, $300, cables, $200, mixer, $70, compressor, $150, digital enhancer, $200, effects processor, $1,000, DAT recorder, $1,200, transportation van, $4,000, drum set, $300, bass guitar, $200, digital guitar, $250, digital horn, $75, flute, $200, Sony video camera, $700, cases, $600, lights, $100, and clothing. With Candelaria dressed to kill for her mid-song dance from Renee's elemental ballet movements, the band knew they could make money with our crowd-gathering potential. So I completed my stage set up, integrated vocals from my bar band days, and familiarized the musicians with those upgrades now on Cyberboy, Bio Blues, Romance, and Polar Shift Prophecies CDs. The band's effort to develop a stage for making money with our shows declined. So the ladies and I put city clothes on and went to the managers of San Antonio's new downtown cyber coffee bar. A week later, and the Maximus show Cyberboy was scheduled to premiere there, December of 1995. So I knew our type of show could access public staging, and current Maximus musicians did not really want to promote, distribute, or play for money. Playing unhindered on Saturday nights seemed to fulfill their weekly secretion requirements. I no longer had access to their social, radio, and local staging contracts. After 7 years on Mount Shasta, my San Antonio was a different place. If we were able to stage our shows at that time for money, then the albums that followed might not have received the attention needed to complete them.